presiding bishop at the Revival Christian Church, and there's been so much talk about a long-awaited revival in Cameroon. But better still, what input or what difference does RCC seek to create in Christendom?
Wow, this is a very important question. I think we are Cameroon will become a destination for genuine Christian revival.
When?
It's on the way. God is working out through His ministers. Because you see, what we see around, I travel a lot. I travel many countries, like African countries, for example, and I've been to different places and I see what's going on. There's basically a chunk of what people call revival. That's not revival, which has to genuine revival, where the Spirit of the Lord is moving, where the word is preached with authority, where there's no faking of the miracles, where there's no using of demonic powers to do ministry. I find many other places. Cameroon is being born into that revival because we have taken time. We have taken time to be born. Cameroon has not been in a haste. Cameroon ministers, and one of the good things about Cameroon ministers is that fundamentally we have been trained. We are basically Cameroon ministers. To the best of my knowledge, many of them are seeking for true knowledge. They are seeking for true knowledge, and revival comes from true knowledge. It's not about excitement. It's not creating churches. That's not revival. Revival is born from the within. When people are hungry for the move of the Spirit of God, that's when revival comes into being. And we call ourselves Revival Christian Church because we're burning with passion. There was a desire for another level and dimension of the works of the Holy Spirit, which were being hindered when we always refer to PCC at the other side. We don't like to call all people say PCC because we don't want to have antagonism with anybody. When we're on the other side, we're stopped from doing certain things. I was stopped from praying. I was stopped from doing revival. I was stopped from ministering to people. And that was an urge. That was a Spirit of the Lord that gave birth to what we call the Revived Christian Church. And the name is not revived. The name is revived, which is a present continuous. So we are in the process where God keeps reviving us and keeps reviving us and keeps reviving us. So I think Cameroon, we look around what is going on in our country now. There's the understanding between ministers now on how to partner in terms of ministry works. When pastors come together and they have an association organization where they can function together, I think it makes sense. And that's where revival is coming to Cameroon. And I think it's coming differently, it's coming genuine because the men of God in Cameroon are doing everything possible to be genuine, not faking now. Although we know that we know some within the system have soiled their hands, you always have that in every field of life.
Now, I understand being the presiding bishop of the church as well means you're the leader of the church, and which comes with a couple of financial autonomy. You're the boss when it concerns the church. What balance? Because we often hear outside the supposedly leaders of the church or so, especially churches which have are being led maybe by one person or by a committee of people. There is always the talk of this set of people feeding fat on Christians giving to God and the like. Can you just briefly comment on that?
Yes, I want, and it's not a lie. It's not a fallacy. It's a reality of what happens on the ground. People are not wrong to think like that, and that is a tendency where that is also being attributed to almost every, we call it, independent churches. Okay. Now, but there's one thing I learned from PCC which we're implementing is a structural organization of the church. A structural organization of the church. RC has taken part of what PCC is all about when it comes to structural organization of church, of the church system. Now, you come to our church, we have the Great Council.
Okay.
We have the Great Council. We have the church committee. We have in our congregations, we have our finance committee. We have leaders. We have our deacons. We have our female deacon, male deacon, we have our group leaders, we have the finance committee, we have the pastor's bench. So every department works as a unit. And at the end, we meet once in 3 months and we have what we call the Great Council meeting, where we evaluate the entire work of the church, including our resources. So it's not like when Sunday is over, the bishop carries the basket and no way. The finance committee is there in charge. We have the finance committee chairperson, we have the minister of finance in our ministry. Every one of our congregation, we have a branch in Kumba, we have a branch in Manfor. We operate like that. The pastors don't even go around the finances. They don't even pass there. That department reports to the council on what is coming on and what are the things we are doing with respect to the finances of the church.
Now, RCC as 2023, this is September, counts how many Christians and how many branches?
No, I think it will be wrong to be able to give the number of Christians there. I'll explain why to you. We have 3 branches and we're a worldwide church.
Okay.
Because we use our platforms. Is there a bridge? Go. Because we use our platforms, as ministry.
Okay.
And if you have the membership of RCC, I'll be talking to you something about millions of people.
Okay.
Because I just told you before that our ministry has been built basically on what I minister on my platforms, social media platforms. So I have thousands of people, millions of people fully all over the world who are contributing to the growth of RCC. We have people that are not with us.
Now, personally, I have a worry with Pentecostal churches, in quotes, just to make you understand whom I'm addressing this question to, relating to the political life of the country. Personally, I'm of the observation that the Pentecostal churches are relevant to an extent spiritually, but have not put in necessary impact when it comes to political life and happenings, that things happened and they just sit quiet about it. They don't talk about it. It looks like there is more or less, there's no concern for our physical well-being, but just a showering of spiritual blessings on us. So what is your take on this? Where is the place of Pentecostal churches when it concerns the political life and development of the nation?
Does the nation recognize the Pentecostal churches in the first place?
You are a bishop.
That is my question and that's my worry. Does the nation understand the importance of the Pentecostal churches when it comes to governance and it comes to contributing politically in the issues that affect our nation? Oftentimes Pentecostal churches are looked upon as some charlatans, as some people have big people who have gone nowhere. I have a PhD for that matter, I've studied, traveled. I'm even president of Africa's Liberation Organization, traveling the world. But when they hear that you're a Pentecostal pastor, what the first thing they think in their head is that you have nothing in your head. And that is the problem, and that's why when government have issues, they don't even call the Pentecostal pastors, they don't even consider them too much. They call the bishops of the Catholic Church, they call the presidents of the Baptist Church, they call the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, and so on and so forth. But you hardly find that they will call a bishop of the Pentecostal Church to come and sit in the first place. So,
Bishop, just not to cut you short, but don't you think that, for example, the disunity or the inavailability of unity amongst the Pentecostal churches is a problem in that, unlike the Presbyterian Church, for example, who has a moderator, and the Baptist Church, who has a president controlling a certain number of congregations, if the Pentecostal churches want to be contacted, who will be contacted and who will?
The government knows the pastors who are in the field. For example, I will not speak of those I don't know. I'll talk about RCC. RCC International is a formally constituted church with structures, with everything. We've even gone through our legalization process, which our documents have been ratified at the level of the division officer to the governor, and it's transmitted now to the Minister of the Recruitment Administration for presidential signatory. And if you have issues in Limbe, you don't call me. You call the Presbyterian secretary. You call the bishop of Bushru to come. You don't call me. I'm an entity. I'm a principality as well within the constitution where I find myself. You have to go for me. And if you don't go for me, I'm not going to talk about the issues. So even when we want to speak about the issues, it's as if we don't understand the intricacies of the politics in place. I mean, there's so much we have to correct first on administration. Okay. They are looking down on, in quote, the Pentecostal churches and their leaders, which is not supposed to be so.
What is the way forward?
The way forward is that you already raised one very good and important thing which the Pentecostal churches need to have. But then you are not coerced. You are not supposed to be forced to belong. It's not necessary that they have. Every church, we have our own church, for example, we have branches all over the place. So we are just as equal as Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. Okay. We are just equal as
Bishop, for example. Don't you see like the
Presbyterian Church is not joining with the Catholics. They are not joining with the Baptists.
But you agree with me that in Limbe, for example, if we want to talk about the Pentecostal churches, we cannot even have a handy statistics because they should be maybe more than 100, and that's already more than the capacity of the halls for the meeting. Or don't you see from the angle that maybe coming together, forming maybe a Pentecostal gathering for
those things do exist.
Okay.
In Limbe, they have Limbe Pastors Fellowship Organization, but it's not that everybody must belong there. I think the most important thing is that I do not want to speak against the works of the other churches. But I think also in matter of legitimacy and recognition, the churches that are that have been fully recognized by the state, the state to use them. Because even you talk about 100 churches in Limbe, how many of them are officially registered within the context of the Cameroon government?
That's another worry.
That's the problem. So, but the ones that have been registered, are they being used? You can call them. I'm a bishop. Coming for meetings, crisis meeting, I have a quarter to control. I have number of people controlling right here and Limbe that can speak to you and they can make things change. You cannot underestimate that. I have a branch in Maifo, I have a branch in Kumba. I minister out of this country. I'm a voice. Besides me, there are other bishops, there are other archbishops that can also. Everybody don't need to be in a meeting, but you can, within the context of the meeting, know who your religious leaders are. It doesn't mean that in every meeting you call the moderator. There are things that the moderator doesn't have idea about. There are things that the bishop, in terms of studies, he hasn't got that knowledge. There are areas that a particular bishop can be versed in, which you can call him. If you have the ministers, when we started ministry, I went to the SDO's office, my tube. I submitted my credentials. I opened a file within my municipality and submitted to the authority. So anything is happening within my division, he knows I'm available. And so if he has something to do where it has to do calling religious leaders together, he should go to the files. All the files of religious leaders should be in administrators' their offices, so that he can go through them and call them for meetings or crisis meeting, and they can contribute. If you don't invite me to a meeting, what am I contributing for? You don't have. It's not like we have other things that we do as well. We have the humanitarian things that we do. We have charitable things that we do. We have the spiritual things that we do to contribute. Do you know that if we're not even preaching the gospel, the crisis will be worse than what it is today? So the churches are actually creating impact. So if you are looking for something specific, maybe they are standing on the TV and talking, or maybe going to a Hilton meeting conference and go and speak there, just the fact that these pastors of Pentecostal churches are preaching peace, comfort, calmness in their churches, they are contributing to the political stability of this nation. Because if these people were not being calmed by the word of God, something else will happen in this nation.
Now,
so they are contributing.
What is the way forward for a return to peace in the Anglophone regions? What is the role of the church in bringing this?
I think they have had a lot of meetings on this aspect. What is the role of the church in terms of, we have had meetings in Cameroon. I had meetings. I remember at the time I was in Nche Buzie, just for Chairman, the Reverend was representing the moderator of one of the crisis meeting. We have feedback, we have documentations. Bishop Kia has been meetings. I think there are various things that have been outlined how we can have peace return back to this country. We said many times, and I want to say some of them here. Grant general amnesty to everybody, both at home and abroad. Release the political prisoners, free them. when you do this, the head of state has the power to take his pen and say this war is going to stop. You know why this war is not stopping?
Why?
I was talking to someone who was, I mean, there are a lot of people involved in the stakeholders in this thing. I would not mention the names because it's very critical as well. And they said the war can't end because we know that there are commission sitting. People see because of this war, commission. They are taking money out of, we go for commission, money is entering their pockets. The militaries are also there. They go for small outings, there is commission coming in. The people who are doing the politicking of the whole crisis, they benefit from it. So because there's so much eating, conferences and meetings and seminars and all of this, outstation, in-station, whatever they call them, people are not willing to let go these bags of money. So they are eating based on the blood of innocent soldiers and innocent civilians who are done every day. If the head of state takes his pen and say, this thing has to stop, I want to tell you, it calls for national dialogue. I mean, when we talk about national dialogue, we said they have a national dialogue before. That was a meeting. How can you have a national dialogue and the people that are concerned about the issues, like people are in the prison, for example, those who are in the diaspora who have run away, and they are not in the meeting to discuss with you, what are you talking about? I mean, let's be honest, let's be factual. You go and pick a few handboys in the bushes that ran away from this and surround themselves with DTR, and then you say these are the people. These are not the people. Clovis and all of those guys who say they gave themselves offer. They are not the people. Yes, they're the ones fighting the bushes, but the people who are beating the drums
for this to dance,
for them to dance, are in the diaspora. They are in the prison. So these are what you need to call them. This thing you say you need independence. This thing you need federalism. What is it about? Can we talk about this thing? You leave them in the prison. You leave them abroad, and then you are talking with people that don't matter in the crisis. And that's why a revolution is an idea. You can't kill a revolution because it's an idea. And if you think that this thing is going to go by all of this thing that they're doing, all this politicking, and let me tell you something, we are going to go in. You've seen wars in other, Yemen is in war crisis, Syria is in war, how many years? So I told some people, passing your bed because we are into a very long flight and long ride. Because the real things are not being handled. Grant general amnesty, release the prisoners, the political prisoners, call for national dialogue, everybody on the table, bring the people who are genuine and honest to speak the truth. Remember that at the beginning of this crisis, there were some government leaders who said that there was no Anglophone crisis. And after a while, they started saying that it's an Anglophone crisis. Such people should be dismissed completely. They should not be involved. And these are people who are in the commissions now. How can you say there was no crisis? Then you come and say there's crisis. Then you are the one running on institution, organization for restoration of peace. It doesn't work that way. And I think Cameroonians must be honest to speak the truth. We don't like talking about this anymore because it seems as if you are just taking what I'm throwing on the next back. I think Cameroonians are suffering. The point I want to emphasize is that we are suffering. We are suffering. Look at now, this is what's happening now. There is lockdown for back to school. Actually, we're supposed to go to school. They are afraid. All communities are locked down. Businesses are locked down. I was talking to a manager at a bank a few days ago, and he told me they came and dropped a letter for him personally and sent him a text message on his phone. They said, we'll cash your bank open, they slaughter your neck. And what did he do? He had to lock the bank. People who have money in the bank to go and translate. He said he cannot risk his life also. If you can't dismiss him from the work, and even if you dismiss him, what if they come and burn down that building? That building is not owned by the bank that owns it. The company, the bank, the building, someone's building. So we are into something. The crisis is draining our resources. Our boys are dying in the bushes. Our military are dying. Our economy is going down the drain. We should be honest. We are suffering. I think every genuine Cameroonian wants to go back to normalcy. And I think all it has to do with dialogue, has to do with peace talks. You can, and peace talks may not end today. It can take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. But if the genuine process to truthful reconciliation, look at what happened in South Africa. They may not have 100% of peace, but at least they have something that is keeping their community and their nation back to. I was in Rwanda a few months ago, and they had a genocide where the Hutus and the Tutsi fought since 1994, almost killed themselves but look at what is happening. Paul Kagame has come now. He has brought true genuine reconciliation. I was in the genocide memorial park. I saw the mass grave that people were buried inside. We will not even handle some of things here. But you go to Rwanda, everybody wants to fly to Rwanda today to go and have tourists, to go and have meetings. Even the senators in Nigeria flew to Rwanda to have their senatorial meeting and retreat in Rwanda. Why? Few years you travel to Rwanda, you go around the cities, you see it's beautiful, it's well made, and they don't have the resources we have in Cameroon. Why can't we just truly have peace here? And let us enjoy the resources God has given us in this country. We have gold in this country. We have timber. We have rubber. What can we name? What can we not name? We have oil in this country. yet we are poor and we are even qualified as one of the poorest countries in Africa. I think there's something wrong somewhere. If we have genuine dialogue, if the head of state calls our people to, let them not be lying to him. They are lying to him about, and it can't be everywhere. And that's why we implore him as our head of state, as head of state of this country, to be able to make sure that he actually goes through some of the things that have been highlighted. It is for the general interest of this nation and our generations to come.
Now you're a man of many hats, and I understand you're the president of the Africans for Africa's Liberation Organization. You would just help us tell us briefly what this organization is all about and your role as president.
Yeah, I'm the visionary president of this great African organization, where Rwanda, where I was elected president in the plenary, and we're moving again to Eswatini Kingdom in July next year to 2024. Where we'll have our last session of our meeting. Basically, it's an economic liberation forum. We believe that a country that is not economically liberated cannot be politically liberated.
Okay.
If you don't have economic freedom, you cannot have political freedom. Forget about those things that call independence. 1969 to 2000 and 2023. How many African countries can boast truly that they are truly independent? Is that the reason why we have all this coup d'etat happening in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and in Guinea, and of course Gabon that of recent? Is it not the reason why in Chad? Because we have puppet leaders that have been placed there by our neo-colonialist powers or imperialist powers that colonized us way back during the Berlin Conference in 1884, when they sat in Germany and they partitioned Africa for themselves and said, you take this, you take this, you take this. And then that has affected us today, because even our political leaders cannot deliver what we need on the ground. How can Africa, the home of 60% of natural human mineral resources, is the poorest? How can Africa, that has a great populace, still that has to do with whatever population density, you also have to do with manpower for revolution, for companies, and how can we be poor when we have all of these things at our doorstep? Because we don't have a better political system that manages our economic system. So if we are able to manage our resources, I said the other day in one of my posts, I said, if we are able to control the economy, we control world politics. If we control the economy, we will control world politics. So AFALO, which is Africans for Africa's Liberation Organization, is intending to sensitize the people, educate the people on the necessity of protecting our resources. Instead of coming here and cut down our trees and carry them in ships and take them to China, and then go and make chewing stick or go and make a toothpick and come and give us to buy toothpick. Come and create the companies here in Africa. Create our jobs here. Give jobs to our people. Produce the materials. The waste, even from the waste, we can still do we can use it to do other things with it. And then Africa becomes rich. You come and buy the product and go and use it in your own country. Because it comes from us. But what do? They come and take the materials, go to their country, create their companies, create their jobs there, and we are languishing in abject poverty. This can't go on and on. And I think Africans are waking up, and that's why I follow, which I'm called to be the missionary president, to foresee into the implementation of the vision and the principles and policies of the revelation which are moving around Africa to be sensitizing people, sensitizing governments, leaders. When we were in Rwanda, for example, we had ambassador, we had one of the ambassadors with us, the Rwanda ambassador with us, we had a minister with us, we had members of government with us. So we educate them, we talk to the media, we set the vision. The people are being educated on the necessity to have and manage their own resources. That's what we are after. Africans should manage their own resources. Open the companies here. What managers, directors should be Africans in their own company. I know that's what has brought what they call privatization, because Africans are unable to manage resources. You go and bring foreigners, they come and manage it very well. Like we have our Cameco, okay? You remember Cameco was one of the flying agencies, not just in Cameroon, but in the world. But it collapsed because when they give it to all African brothers, Cameroon brothers, they mismanage the place. Sure. But I think the mentality is changing. We have a no-nonsense generation that wants to work and wants to give back to Africa what Africa deserves. I think I follow where I'm visionary president is up for that.
Well, thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule to talk to us, shed light on your ministry journey, and as well the work of Afalo in restoring the glory of Africa.